Okay.
There we go.
I was in an event I was in an event last night, and there was a speaker, and he said, "Oh, you have to forgive me. I'm not too familiar with Zoom. I think this is my third Zoom call ever." And I was like, "This is like my third Zoom call of the day."
Yeah. Okay, I'm not that familiar with hosting, but I am familiar with Zoom calls.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Wayne, for being so patient with us. And my apologies to everybody about the technical difficulty, because the technical difficulty is me. But thank you all for being here tonight. And we have a fantastic speaker, Wayne Lee. Over to you.
All right. Well, it's such a pleasure. I feel like I already know all of you, and it's going to be a little fun in regards to how we can go back and forth and engage. So at times I'll ask you some questions too. And the first question I have is, how many of you have actually been hypnotized? Here's the neat response that I get, because over COVID, everything shut down. In fact, what had happened is the month before, I think it was February, we had our biggest, wife and I were working on the business. We probably had the best month of closing bookings and events going into the States and all over North America. And then the next month it was gone.
Oh, that's so gone. Sad.
And there was this is that really what happened? And so it forced us to create online programs and coaching. And if it wasn't for COVID, we wouldn't have done that. So now looking back, it's really, it's been a blessing in the way that we've looked at it in regards to creating more value for clients and being able to help people with all the stuff that's going on. But the point is that at these corporate events that I've done, and I did a few in the last few weeks, it never changes. I will go out and I will do some walk around mentalism or magic, and I will say, "I'm Wayne Lee, the hypnotist." And as I put my hand out, this is what usually happens. They will go, "Don't look at me, get away." So 9 times out of 10, a lot of people are scared of the hypnosis, or they think that something's going to happen where they're in this state of control. Where I think Kat had seen me many years ago, and I'm not sure if any of you have seen me before or seen a show before, but it's very fascinating in regards to, it looks like people are going to sleep, when in fact they are, and the best way I can describe it is that they're always aware. They just don't care. And I see the kids here. This is awesome. Yeah. And I'm going to ask the kids, do you guys like magic? Yeah. Even if you don't, say, "Yes, I like magic. Yeah. Because
yes.
the number one question, and before I even get into some of the magic, all hypnosis is really magic of the mind. And we're doing it all day long with regards to what we're saying to ourselves and the pictures that are happening in our mind. Just like when we wake up in the morning, we can say, "Oh, what a great day it's going to be." Typically, a lot of people say, "Oh my goodness, not another day like this." And that suggestion is the essence of hypnosis, because that command, that structure, that suggestion is going to actually dictate how your day goes. Not a lot of people think about it that way. And even if there's a lot of challenges, a lot of people say, "My goodness, it's the challenges that are the problem." And in fact, it's just the way we think about it that's the problem. And magic is the same way. So for the kids here especially, when I was in grade 2, this influence all started when my mom gave me a magic kit. And so it was pretty cool, because when I got this magic kit, I didn't know what to do. And I took it to school, and I had a grade 2 teacher where, I don't know if you've ever seen a magic kit where there's a finger chopper in there. And it actually, you can put the finger in and you chop it, and it goes right through. You have to set it up. And we have somebody else. We have Tracy here. Awesome. And what had happened is I didn't set the finger chopper up right. And so I did it on my teacher, and it actually hurt her. so I actually got in trouble for that. So that was my first experience with magic. But being the determined, curious kid I am, I persevered and I kept doing magic, and it never failed to amuse me in regards to the reactions on people's faces. And I think that's why I like doing the entertainment too, because it's like, I think people lose a sense of wonder, especially when we're adults. Kids, they always have that sense of wonder, but we kind of get stuck into this railroad of just a way of thinking. So I'm going to show you the first magic trick that my mom actually showed me because she bought me the magic trick. Would you like to see it? Now it's something that you can all get in a magic kit. So if you have a magic kit, you know how it's done. Don't tell anyone. We'll sell it to people later, okay? But it's all done with a silk, okay? And I'm gonna need all of you to help with the magic, especially the kids, because one of the things that is so magical are the words that we say, and that's the basis of hypnosis. So, any of you know any magical words? You can just blurt them out.
Abracadabra.
Abracadabra. We're going to use abracadabra. And this is so cool because this isn't about me just doing something. As you know, with these Zoom calls, it's about engagement. How do you keep people engaged? And as a hypnotist, I mean, that's my job. So it's with words, but it's also with questions, and it's also with getting you to actually do some of the magic. So we've got abracadabra, and it's very interesting. One of the first things I ever learned when I remember in school, she's going to even show, is the colors of a rainbow. And sometimes life is very colorful, sometimes not so much. But I also want all of you to think of a color that comes to mind for you. Okay? Got it? Okay, cool. And now I'm going to take this, what we call a labyrinth. And it's I don't know if you've ever seen the movie, but it's a sacred geometric shape that if you look at it, you may feel a little sleepy. I'm just kidding about that. You'll actually just notice that it's a really cool design. And the color you may see is red. And when my mom gave me this magic kit, she said, all you have to do is believe. And so you got to believe with some words here. So as I make this little pocket here, what I need all of you to do is, I know it's on the screen, but just blow on it as if that's the breath of life. Got it? Okay, good. And when I snap my fingers, I don't know if any of you are on mute, but when I snap my fingers, I need all of you to say abracadabra. You ready? 1, 2, 3.
Abracadabra.
Usually I have to ask for it twice. So that was awesome. And I feel the magic. I feel the magic. Ta-da! Yeah, usually I get tons of applause.
How do you do that? How do you do that? Yeah, that's so cool.
You want to know how?
Sure.
Magic.
Magic.
So, and what it was really cool is that, you know, it's something quite fascinating, but anyone can learn this. But here's the interesting thing is when you appear something, that's the magic, but making something disappear because you see it is going to be even tougher because you can see it. So as you push it in, make a nice little pocket. On the count of 3, say abracadabra. 1, 2, 3.
Abracadabra. Oh gosh.
Oh yeah, usually tons of applause. Tons of applause. And to start it all off, the question is this. Where do I keep my magic? Any of you know? Same place that you keep yours, inside. Watch.
No way.
Oh.
Ta-da!
That is cool. That's really cool.
You're gonna have the kids choking on a little scarfy thing.
I do not take any responsibility for that. So the interesting thing is a lot of times, you know, say when I'm doing the staged events, I'm not able to do a little bit of magic here. Here, obviously, it's a great way to segue and build in things. But it all started with my mom giving me that magic kit and being able to entertain with it. And then that led to me seeing a hypnosis show in a nightclub. And again, whether you've been hypnotized or not, how many of you have actually seen a show in a club or seen a hypnosis show? So it looks pretty phenomenal, right, Christy? Like and when I was there, the first thing that came to mind is that this is all phony. This is all rigged, because these people on stage, and I was there with my girlfriend at the time. So this is over 25 years ago. Before that, I was a school teacher. And so as I'm watching these people do some like funny things in this nightclub, it was a nightclub show. I am just laughing my head off, thinking it was one of the funniest things I'd ever seen. But I wasn't convinced that this was real until the hypnotist gave a suggestion. And the suggestion was he had everybody up on stage think that they had lost their belly buttons. So as you could imagine, all the people on stage were looking for their belly buttons, and they were legitimately like, they could not find their belly buttons. And then he said, someone in the audience has your belly button, go out and find it. And so all these people on stage rushed to go see where their belly buttons were. And I was laughing so hard I was crying. But I didn't hear anything from my girlfriend right next to me. So I turned and I looked at her, and there she was looking for her belly button. So she got hypnotized right beside me, and that was the point of, well, the turning point of going, there's something to this. There's something unbelievably, how could you say, real to this. But I didn't know what it was. And so that's where back in the 90s, and then when I do school events now, I tell the kids, I went to a place called the library because there was no internet, there was no digital domain. It was crazy, because you think about that, that wasn't that long ago, right? And at the same time, I would immerse myself in this library, and I'd read all the books, watch all the videos, and I had some great mentors that would show me how to do it. And then I started to do this hypnosis. And I realized after hypnotizing probably over 100,000 people, and I'm very proud to say only 3 people have never woken up. Okay, it's a good thing you're laughing. Yes, yeah. Kat's stunned. She's like, oh, really?
Wait a second.
But I don't know if you're aware of this, is that when you get hypnotized, you're still aware, you just don't care. So what I realized in doing the hypnosis is that it wasn't what people thought it was. It wasn't this state where they black out. And I actually tested out for myself. I went on stage 3 or 4 times. I kept getting kicked off because I thought I was going to not hear anything. I thought I was going to be in this trance, when in fact it was a state where you're highly aware, you just don't care. So what I learned is that it frees up the one thing that stops us all, which is fear. Fear of looking silly, making a mistake, not being good enough, or not being lovable. Whatever it is, it's that lack of who we perceive to be. So it's pretty fascinating. And after doing all these events and shows, I realized that it was all based on the power of suggestion. And so the power of suggestion is that any time that I give myself a command or a suggestion, it's going to be a great day, I actually then make it a self-fulfilling prophecy in terms of my subconscious will go to work. The same thing with all of you is I can say certain things, and at a subconscious level, sometimes you don't even realize that you're picking up on these suggestions. One is that when somebody says, don't you just hate it how people cut you off in traffic? And even if you don't hate that, if you start agreeing with them, you realize you've just accepted a program, and the next time that you get cut off, you're going to be upset. So it's fascinating to see how these beliefs play out. Now, in this whole arena of taking about 5 to 10 minutes just to tell you that, as well as do that little magic trick, you didn't hear me say anything about cards, did you? Or maybe you just forgot, or maybe you didn't clue into it, because what I'm going to get you to do in this whole little story that I told is all true, yet I wove in something that is subconsciously influential, and I'll show you what I mean. So Leona, okay, what I'm going to get you to do is I'm going to get you right now to think of a card in a deck of cards. One card. Got it? Okay. Now, I always have a deck of cards, but it's interesting because at a subconscious level, we pick up and we're like sponges, just like kids, on a lot of stuff, unless we're awake and aware of the stuff that we're taking in. And so as a hypnotist, that's my job. So you thought of a card, and one of the cards, or I should say 2 of the cards that are very common at a subconscious level, people will actually think of. The first card is the Ace of Spades. And Christy, you thought of that, right? Yeah. Now, Leona, did you think of that? You did, right? Okay. And it's fascinating how this works. But Lisa there, she's got this face going, no, I didn't think of that. You didn't, did you? But did you think of a card? Okay. You can put yourself off mute. Perfect. Now, Lisa, Ace of Spades, and the next card is the Queen of Hearts.
Yeah, that was mine.
That was yours, right? Isn't this fascinating, right? And okay. And then so Kat is over there, and she's just going, I'm just taking this in. Now, let me ask you, Kat, did you think of a card? Oh, and you're just on mute, so take it off.
I'm thinking of a card.
Okay. So, and ladies, it's interesting how you picked up on those common cards, right? Ace of Spades, Queen of Hearts. And it could be suggestion, it may not, we may never know, but I always like to say that the fact that we wonder in life is the way of naturally discovering everything remarkable. That's the acronym for wonder, the way of naturally discovering everything remarkable. It really is, because life's a mystery at a deep level. If we lose the mystery, we lose the magic. And Kat, you thought of a card, right? Now you can't, no, don't think of the Joker, because I'm here already. That's why I'm not a comedian. But you do got your card, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm not a mind reader, but I want you to tell us what came to your mind. You can tell us.
6 of diamonds.
This is so cool, because this one deck, I have a card I reversed in here, and you could have said any card you wanted, right? 6 of diamonds. Can you see? I'm going to flip these over, making sure you see 6 of diamonds. And there's one card and only one card.
Oh my God.
That I reversed in the whole deck. Okay. And I'm going to flip it over.
It's my card.
Give her a big round of applause. Yes.
Awesome.
That's amazing.
Great. Yeah, it's crazy how you picked it up. Just like that.
I don't know how you did that, but that's cool.
Yeah.
Do you have the numbers for the 649? We really want to know.
I have to. I'm not allowed to do that. The government is actually, it's against. Okay, so I'm building up, because the way that we're going to end this is with a really nice little exercise if you're all into doing a bit of visualization, if that's cool. Mm-hmm. But we'll do a little bit more entertainment here. So also, what a lot of people don't realize about hypnosis is the fact that hypnosis is more observation and more reading people's body, because you can tell a lot through the body and even the energy that somebody gives off. Does that make sense? And although that's very ambiguous, you get a sense of energy is real, right? Oh, yeah. And even in my show, I say energy. And what I mean by that is that your thoughts are energy, your words are energy, and that energy then can manifest into matter. But I can see it even through the screen. And this is something I wanted to test out when I was doing online stuff, even though I didn't do big shows online. I wanted to see if I could read people's energy. And we'll do it with a card. But I just wanted to make sure that there's nothing that I can use to see the screen, and I'm going to make that as how could you say, as neutral as possible. But I'm going to take these cards and I'm going to shuffle them up. I'm going to show you that they're just all mixed up cards. And Christy, what I'm going to get you to do is when I shuffle them up, and I'm just going to make sure they're all shuffled up pretty good and I can stand up here, is when you tell me to stop, the card you tell me to stop off, I'm going to show all of you, and I need all of you to think of that card, okay? Is it Peyton?
Yeah, Peyton, yeah.
Cool, cool. And she's thinking, how did he know my name? I'll show you the card, and then what I want you to do is I want you to see the card, and I want to almost like burn it in your brain. Does that make sense? So you get a good visual, all of you. Okay, it works when. So I'm gonna keep shuffling, and then when I get these shuffled, Chrissy, when you feel a pull to tell me to stop, okay?
Stop.
Okay. Got the card. I'm looking away. Can you see it?
Yes.
Yep.
Can all of you see it?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, burn it in your brain. Good. And I'm going to put it down, and I'm going to just mix them up. And then I'm just going to put the cards down. So you all got the card, right? Mm-hmm. Now it's fascinating because one of the things that I learned, I'm going to go back to the story, and I know Lisa was just telling me about her son that does Taekwondo, correct? And one of my sports that I did, and I've got my son Ledger in it, is a sport of wrestling. And so when I wrestled, there was something that I did naturally, and then I realized that all Olympic gold medalists do it, and they visualize. So they burn it into their brain, and there's what we call a psychosomatic effect where every thought creates a physical response. And so if you think of a particular card right now, and if I ask you the right questions, you can actually forecast the card, believe it or not. It's hard to keep in unless you think of a different card. So all I ask you to be is honest. Is that cool? Okay. So what I'm going to get you to do is think of the card that you just had seen, which was randomly shuffled. Christy, you asked me to stop on a particular card. You all saw it. You saw the same card, right? Mm-hmm. And I want you to now think of it. And while you're thinking of the card, put it in your mind. This is a bit of a skill. And I'm going to say a couple things here. When I say these things, all I want you to do is think of the card. Okay? You don't have to say yes or no, but I'm going to say red or black. So you're thinking of the card. Is that right? Okay. So at this point, I picked up on this, and it was 80% to 90%. I'm certain that it's a red card. And when I say a red card, I mean in the suits, you've got diamonds and hearts, and then you got the black spades and clubs. And when I said red, I picked up on an energy. And that energy is what you're thinking of, is the red. And it's fascinating how this works. So now stick with me on this, because I don't want you to agree or disagree. I just want you to think of the card. And when I say diamonds or hearts are you thinking of the card? Mm-hmm. Okay, so I know it's a heart. And I feel that it's a heart. And now this is where it gets tricky, because there was a 50-50 chance of getting the suit, narrowing it down. But when I say 1 to 10 or Jack, Queen, King, I want you to think of that card. Are you thinking of it? Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. This is where all of you are going to start dancing in 10 seconds. I'm kidding. Okay, so I just wanted to shift your state, maybe a pattern interrupt. And so I'm going to say numbers here, and all I want you to do is think of that card. So I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Jack, Queen, King, King, Queen, Jack, 10, 9. Okay, so it's in the range of 8, 9, 10, Jack. I feel it. And if I said 8,
Wow.
9. Okay, so it's not a face card. There would have been this almost like a magnetic pull of energy. So it's a 10 of hearts. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yay!
That's awesome.
So we're so much on the same page. I can't believe it. So this is cool, because I felt that energy. I felt the energy. Now, I got to tell you the one story. But Peyton, do you have a favorite color?
Yeah,
What is it, if you don't mind me asking?
blue.
It is blue. Okay. So, do you have a second favorite color?
Green.
Okay. So when you put the blue and the green together, what do you get?
Like a turquoise or teal color.
Yeah, and then you'll get a rainbow color too. It's almost like we're going back to the rainbow. Okay, we're gonna get back to yours, but I see what's grabbing me right now is Lisa's. Is it a sweater that you have on, Lisa?
Yeah. Oh, it's my Santa sweater. I dressed for the holiday party.
Oh my goodness, this is so cool. Okay, hold it. I'm gonna actually go over and pick some out. Okay, did you see that? Okay, so this is where I did that magic trick with the first one I learned from my mom, and now I'm going to show you firsthand how it's done. I just pretend that I have a little bit here, and I throw it up, I catch it, make a nice little pocket. All of you blow on it. Peyton, when I snap my fingers, you get to say abracadabra.
Okay. Abracadabra.
And Lisa just lent me some of that.
Oh my God.
Ta-da! I felt that strong energy coming from Lisa's clothing there. So push it in. 1, 2, 3. Blow on it.
That is cool.
Ta-da!
That is cool.
Okay. So, and because Peyton, you're on here, I'm going to show you the first magic trick that somebody actually showed me to teach someone else. Cool?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So here's the deal though. When you learn it, you have to practice it so you can do it in front of other people, and then don't tell anybody how it's done. Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Mm.
So I'm going to take this. Can you see it? It's a toonie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when I'm going to take it in my hand, and then I tap on it, and then it disappeared. Ooh. Okay. So I know what we have to do. Okay. So watch. You got to take it in your hand. As you take it in your hand, watch what happens. You say the magical words, abracadabra, and then it just vanishes.
That's cool.
No.
Can you do that, Peyton?
No.
No.
And it's always back in the hand. Okay. I'm going to show you how it's done, Peyton. There's 3 steps to this, and then once you learn it, you can teach it to other people. Okay. So first of all, I take the loonie or the toonie. It could be a loonie as well. And as I take it in my hand, I pretend that I put it in this hand, but I can actually put it in my other hand, and I go to my elbow. Okay. This is just a variation just because we're on the Zoom, and then it's gone. You see how I did it?
Confused.
Okay, so it's what we call misdirection. I take it in my hand, and if we were doing this where you could see everything, I'd actually drop it and it would be like a mistake, then I'd pick it up. But with this, I just go, here's the toonie, and then I put it in here, right? Did you see it? And then it's gone.
It's in your other hand. Thanks.
I know. And then it's in my neck. And then you think, okay, I take it, right? Because I take it here, and then it's gone. But what I want you to do is I want you to learn to have it in this hand, and then as you take it here, it looks like it actually goes in my elbow, correct? And then it's gone. And then it's actually coming out of my neck. So 3 steps, you get to practice that on your family, okay? But then
Okay.
people that don't know it, then you show it to them. Cool.
Okay.
Okay. So, do you want to know where I really learned the hypnosis stuff? So, it was actually in the sport of amateur wrestling. So, I know what some of you are thinking right now. WWF, WWE. So, it wasn't that sport. In grade 8, 9, I wrestled amateurly in that sport. And I didn't do that well. I got beat up quite a bit. But as soon as I moved to Edmonton and I started wrestling out of Sherwood Park, the Salisbury Wrestling Club, I had a great coach, and his name was Glenn. And Glenn asked me a question that changed my life. And it wasn't that, mind-blowing at the time, but it now I look back and I'm going, oh my goodness, he kind of set the course for me. And the question was, he says, Wayne, how well do you want to do this year in wrestling? And I said, well, I want to do pretty good. He said, no, specifically. I was in grade 10, so he thought, I'm going to get a goal out of you. And I says, well, I want to make it into the finals of the Canadian National Championships. And that was a big goal for me because I'd never wrestled at that level before. And he said, okay, well, here's what you got to do. You have to train every day. You got to wrestle with these particular training partners. You've got to do your conditioning. And he said, and one more thing. He says, every day you have to see yourself as if you've already gotten into the finals. So he said that to me, and being somebody that was willing to do whatever it took, I said, I'll do that. And so I even had a little mantra, not realizing this was hypnosis at the time, but I said this to myself, I'm going to make it into the finals. I'm going to make it into the finals. I'm going to make it into the finals. And so every day I would visualize myself getting into the finals. I would say that. I would do all the training that he asked me to do. And I would say that one little phrase, I'm going to make it into the finals. So finally we went through the whole year, went to lots of tournaments, won tournaments, lost tournaments, and finally made it to the national championships. And I was scared like crazy. Scared like crazy. Like maybe public speaking scares you, or maybe painting certain things are a little bit frightful. And that fear is just to keep you safe. And for me, it was the same thing. So when I was in wrestling, I thought I was going to get sick between every match. But I kept saying to myself, I'm going to make it into the finals. I'm going to make it into the finals. And I wrestled my 3 matches that day at the national championships, and I win those matches, and I was super thrilled that I had done so well. And the next day I was going for the match where if I win that match, I would make it into the finals. So I'd achieve my goal. And the person I'm wrestling is a lot stronger and a lot more experienced. But I thought to myself, I'm going to make it into the finals. I'm going to make it into the finals. And Glenn said to me, he says, you got this. So I get into my stance and the whistle blows, and it's a 5-minute match going back and forth. And so we go back and forth, and the whistle blows, and it's a 3-all tie. And so I'm super tired, but super focused. And we get 1 minute with our coach before we get back out there to do sudden death. So at the intermission, or at that time period, I have no idea what Glenn said to me, because all I'm thinking is, I'm going to make it into the finals. I'm going to make it into the finals. I was like in a trance, and I realized that's what a trance is. Just so absorbed in what you're doing. So I get back on the mat, whistle blows, we go grappling off the mat, out of bounds. I come racing back into the center of the mat. I get back in my stance, and the referee comes to me and raises my hand in the air. Yes, I got the point going out of bounds. I didn't even know how I did it, but I did it. So I won the match. I got into the finals. I achieved my goal, and I was ecstatic. But I thought I was going to win the gold medal, because the guy that was wrestling me for the gold medal, I had beat at a different tournament. So I'm like, I got this. So the next day, I get into my stance, the whistle blows, and I lost. Now here's the punchline. I said to Glenn, I said, I could have beat that guy. I had wrestled him before, I beat him before. I said, what happened? He says, well, what did you focus upon all year long? And then it hit me. It was, I focused upon getting into the finals, but I didn't focus in on winning the gold medal. So he said, you know, Wayne, you need to fix your focus. I said, what do you mean fix the focus? He says, if you want to win the gold medal, you have to see yourself as the gold medalist. And you have to visualize that daily. And it just hit me like a ton of bricks, where I was like, I got exactly what I asked for. And now looking back and looking at how I got into hypnosis and, you know, the whole intrigue, I realized that's what I was doing. I was hypnotizing myself. Now the challenge is that most people not only need to fix their focus, they need to flip their focus, because they're continually focusing upon what's wrong or what's not good or the negative. And so that was profound, because not only was it about making my focus bigger and flexing it, it was about flipping it and realizing that when you start to focus upon what you want, you get more of that. So I used the same principles of what I learned there to then win the national championships 3 times in a row, and then going from a school teacher to doing something that I had to learn on my own, which was hypnosis. Because people say, how did you learn that? Well, I just knew that I wanted to figure it out. So I did. And so when you see it in your mind first and you attach emotion to it, magic happens. Magic happens. Like something out of nothing, you know, turning the invisible into the visible. All the little magic that I showed you is just a representation of how life really works. So I would love to take you through, it's called the Mega Method, and it is 5 minutes of visualizing your gold medal, whatever that is. So my question is, what is your gold medal? What does 2022 look like in regards to something that you want to accomplish? Maybe it's an impossible goal. Maybe it's something that you haven't even thought of for a while, or maybe it's something that you think, maybe that's not even possible. So what is it for you? You don't have to share it, but are you all game to go through this exercise?
Mm-hmm.
And here's where most people stop. And I've interviewed gold medalists like Jamie Saleh, Lorianne Munzer, who are friends of mine. And they always say this. They said, you know, when they visualized, they did it until it was spot on. And what they meant by it, and I know I related to this in wrestling, is you do it as if you've already achieved it and you feel a feeling. Most people will go, yeah, I want that. I'll even see it, but there's a gap. They don't feel as though they've already achieved it. And that's where the magic happens. And I must have done this, like doing the hypnosis shows and my keynote presentations, to over 100,000 people. And the key is that once you do this, you link it to, say, a symbol, like a color, which we just went through some colors, as well as putting your hand. You can always activate that good feeling so you can move forward in despite of the stress or the overwhelm or the negative challenges that you're going through. Does that make sense? Okay. So, but there is a warning here that once you go through it, you'll be so successful, there's no turning back. So, and then as far as, again, when we get a group together that's large enough in person, again, I'd love to do something live for you guys, for you ladies. Okay.
Oh, that's so nice, Wayne. Thank you.
So do you all have a big goal, a gold medal? Okay, cool. And for some, it can be emotional because once you imagine as if you've achieved it, a lot of people on stage will have a release like, wow, that was amazing. And it's at a subconscious level. So the main thing is just to let go. And I'm going to use words like picture, imagine, and pretend, which some people, they're not visualizing as much, but they can all picture, you can all imagine, you can all pretend. And that's the main thing, is what we've been doing is just pretending and acting as if. So when you're ready, all you have to do is get into a comfortable position like you're in and take a deep breath in. And let it out with a sigh. And again, I promise no one will be dancing out in the streets after this. Let it out with a sigh. And now just close your eyes. And now that you have your eyes closed, I want you to know this. That deep within your heart, there's a magical spark that lights the fire of your imagination. That spark is your unlimited power, your potential. I like to call it your inner magic. Allows you to manifest any goal into creation. And your imagination is your plan-making department. It allows you to see the future before you even arrive there. It allows you to see what you want before you've even achieved it. So right now I want you to pick out that gold medal, that one thing that really excites you, that lights you up, that lifts you up, that is such a magnificent goal for you. Call it your end game. Whatever it is, make it big, make it bold, make it very beautiful. And I want you right now just to picture, imagine, and pretend what it is. Hear what you hear. Feel what you feel. See what you see. What are you doing? How are you being? What are you feeling? Who's around you? Paint the picture. Engage your senses. Feel it. And on the count of 3, this is going to get really cool. On the count of 3, I want you to imagine as if you've already achieved it. Feel the feeling of what I call bliss. Give yourself permission to go there. The count of 3, keep your eyes closed and feel the feeling of achievement, of bliss. What does it sound like? What does it look like? What does it feel like? And just let it sit within you. On the count of 3, enjoy and keep your eyes closed. 1, you can taste it, touch it, and feel it. 2, and 3. You just did it. Yes. Notice how that feels. Yes. And on the count of 3, that feeling's going to magnify a little bit more. What would that feel like? Just even a couple times more, or 10 times more, amplifying and magnifying. It feels so good. On the count of 3, keep your eyes closed and feel that feeling. 1, 2, it's bubbling, it's percolating. It happens now. 3, yes. Feel the feeling and notice what it feels like. Notice that there's a color to that feeling. Whatever color comes to mind, think of that color and feel the feeling. It's the perfect color for you right now. From this day forward, anytime you think of that color, boom, bam, shazam. You feel so much passion, power, motivation. You'll do one thing every day until you've achieved that goal. You want more of that feeling? It's in your heart. It always has been. You just got to activate it. Put your hands to your heart right now and keep your hands there and feel that feeling. From this day forward, anytime you think of that color and or put your hands to your heart, boom, bam, shazam. You feel so much passion, excitement, energy that you'll do one thing every day until you've achieved the goal. And then you move on to the next. Because life's always about giving, growing, and moving forward. See, some people believe in their doubts. Other people doubt their beliefs. You believe in yourself. If anybody says different, they're wrong. Now that you know that to be so very true, ingrained in your mind, body, heart, and soul, count of 3, you'll open your eyes. You'll feel wonderfully reset, ready to have an amazing sleep. 1, feeling absolutely fantastic. 2, like your whole body's been washed with crystal clear water. On this next count, eyes open, awake, aware, feeling recharged. And it happens now. 3. Eyes open. How was that for you, ladies? Good?
Still feeling it.
Yeah, yeah. Did you lose yourself in it? Yeah. What, I'm always curious what color came to you? Because the color can be revealing of an energy.
Red came to me, which is very strange for me. Red's not a color that I particularly think of ever, but that was the first color that came to me. And then green.
Okay.
But when you said go back to the first color, so then I went back to red. But that was it was weird.
Yeah, and that's a typical response. A lot of times, when people will say, "Well, that's not my color. That's not my favorite color," but it just came to you. So, and I'm not sure if you're familiar much with the chakras or the energy centers. Mm-hmm. Yeah, red is like a root chakra, like very grounding color. So on a couple levels, and it depends on what it means to you, but that red can be just grounding to achieve that goal. Yeah.
I'm sorry. There's one of our neighbors' boys plays hockey, and my husband runs upstairs. He says, "Can you give me $20? I got to give it to Dorothy's boy." And I'm like, "Later." He's like, "Oh, he's at the door now." And I'm like, "Okay." But I did get a color. The color was yellow for me.
Oh, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And color, the yellow is in the solar plexus, confidence and personal power.
I like that.
Yeah.
I'll go with that.
Yeah. So if you even have a stone or a crystal, or you have a symbol and you have a color, anytime you see that color, it'll trigger that feeling, that vibration, which will lift you up a notch or two. Especially when you need it most, because that's usually when we buy into a lot of the negativity or we're stressed out. And it's usually a thought that's producing that feeling that's rubbing up against your personal power.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And ladies, color come to you?
Orange. It was like a yellowy orange, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Sacral power, personal power blended in there for sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Christy, how about for you?
Mine was yellow as well, my cat.
Yeah. So the sunshine's got your back. Yeah.
Hey, we're all fundraisers. We have to have confidence.
So I have one last one that I'll leave off with, and I'm going to have all of you actually do it, and it's back to the cards, okay? And then we'll wrap it up. So let's see if we all, okay, so there's 4 here. Let's see if how it'll work here. So I'm going to get each of you to think of a card in a deck of cards.
Any card.
Any card.
Okay.
Got it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And this could be a process of elimination too. So again, Queen of Hearts, Ace of Spades, you probably didn't think of that because we already did that already, correct? Is that right? Okay. So Lisa, we're going to start with you. What came to your mind?
What card?
Yeah.
2 of spades.
Okay, 2 of spades. Leona, what did you choose?
5 of hearts.
5 of hearts. Christy?
8 of clubs.
Okay, 8 of clubs. Kat, do you have one?
Yes, 3 of hearts.
Christy, did you say ace or 8?
8.
8?
Yeah. What's funny is my husband is over there and he said, that's the card I picked. So that's weird.
Is it really?
Yeah, really.
Okay. Because I knew that it was 8 of clubs for sure, right? Okay. Because I knew that because we did this before, I didn't know how well it would turn out. So the reason I wanted to include all of you, but it's interesting your husband picked up on that too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Because I thought this was more of an experiment of like a percentage of one person's going to hit on this, because the one card that and it was 8 of clubs, right?
It was, yeah.
Right at the front, I reversed one card. All the other ones are all face up. And I think that was it.
Oh,
Wow.
And through my head, I picked a number of different cards.
I know, and then you landed on that, right? Yes.
Crazy.
Huh.
That's funny.
That's all I got, ladies.
Thank you.
It's without diving into all the hypnosis, it was a ton of fun. It was a ton of fun
was.
just to connect and share some stories, and definitely bring our spirits up a little bit for tonight. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Wayne, I
Thank you.
want to share something with you just because it's a small group. I wouldn't do this.
Yeah, for sure.
in a large group, but because it's a small group. You know, when you talk about energy and the feel, and I don't know, it's a show, so you might be talking up through your head, like whatever. But I work with horses.
Yes.
Like I ride horses, and I've in the last 20 years I've really worked on this natural horsemanship thing, right? So trying to connect with the horses more than just pulling on the reins and stabbing them with your spurs, right? And the whole energy thing, what you said, is so part of that with animals. And I think like I get with the wrestling, because again, with wrestling, you're working with another sentient being, not just a ball or some, like golf is like a ball on a club, right? Like it's not something that has reaction and thought back to you.
Yeah.
But with horses, you're, when you achieve something with a horse, you're controlling yourself and this other being that has a thought too, and some opinions sometimes. And it's so interesting what you were talking about, the energy thing, because that's what horses are so sensitive. And what you said about the thinking about what you can achieve and thinking about and just believing in it and thinking about it. And with horses, it's so true. If you're around them in the frame of mind that you want them to be in, so if you're calm, they're calm.
Yeah.
If you're nervous, they're nervous. If you go, they go, probably bigger than that. And it's so interesting how it's so, and I think human beings have turned themselves off of connecting with each other in that way, because we're taught to kind of almost shield ourselves from other people and not really be honest. And with horses, you can't shield yourself. They see right through that.
Yeah.
And I think what I get the sense from you is that you're trying to break down those barriers that other people have with each other, but you're able to, for yourself, kind of see through those barriers. I don't know if that's hokey or whatever. I know it sounds a bit hokey, but
I'll have to take you on the road, Leona, so you can do, because it's interesting, because a big lead in for people that come to, say, a show and then I do a keynote, is they see that element happening, and it's exactly that. I know myself, even growing up, I wanted to people please because I felt like we should all be happy, we should all feel, but I learned that all emotions are meant to be felt. And one of the biggest things that stops people from doing that is having a thought that they shouldn't feel that way.
Yeah.
And that's, like in the coaching that I do, and that, again, I go back to how people are trying to live someone else's life, or they are trying to fight this feeling, when all feelings are functional. And like you say, horses are so in tune, they pick it up. Now, looking at people though, when you're teaching kids, you can tell kids what to do. You can be in this stern state and whatnot. The best thing you can do is be in the best state you can be in, because kids pick that up. Everybody picks that up at a subconscious level. That's exactly it. Yeah. And a lot of times people want people to change, like that people is mean and angry. Best thing you can do is be in a joyful state yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
Because what you are is what you then influence others to be.
Yeah.
Right? It's fascinating,
sure.
and
fascinating stuff, isn't it? Yeah, it becomes a way of life, and it's changed me a lot. Like I tell people that I talk to now about they're trying to get into this kind of horsemanship. It's not just about you and your horse.
Yeah,
it's a way of life, and you have, if you really want to have that connection, you have to live it every day, every moment of the day.
Yeah,
you have to live it. Otherwise, you can't just turn it off and on because you're with your horse that day. Yeah. Or I've seen it myself. They bring the horse into the arena, and they're like that in the arena, but then they take the horse out of the arena, and they're all back to their old selves, and then the horse is misbehaving, and they're wondering why. Like, it was great in the arena. What's happened? Well, you changed. The horse didn't change.
Yeah.
And it's the same with people. You're in a group of people, and for some reason, whatever, you're kind of really in tune. And then you walk away and you go back to kind of your old way of life. And all of a sudden everybody's like grumpy and it's not the way it was. And you go, well, what happened? Well, it was you that changed, not your environment, kind of thing. Yeah, it's very interesting. So sorry, I didn't mean to bore everybody, but I just thought.
No, I think it's perfect. It was
kind of right there. Yeah.
And it is true. Like, I know one of the things that COVID has done is allowed me to teach a lot of the things that I deeply believe in to others, where on stage for 90 minutes, sometimes it's more on the entertainment. There is, the keynote, but it's just, now knowing how many people are tuned into that are actually, there's a shift in consciousness that I see. And it's obviously in terms of where I'm at too, but it's what I study and what I really believe in regards to, there's a big wake up, I guess, is what's happening right now.
I think so too. Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. And with the big wake up, it's uncomfortable also for people. Right?
Oh, lots of
there's a chaotic energy, and then there becomes an alignment of sorts in regards to how people can even be in alignment in the chaos, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But it's like any other questions that you have as far as, or comments like that? Because I think that's great. Like, some of the greatest things that take place are those exact things that you've just mentioned, Leona, is being able to then say those things that interject in this whole experience that we're having. So
yeah. I just wanted to say thanks, Leona, for sharing, because I think that's great. And I mean, I've been on a horse maybe twice in my life. Love them. But I've never really been in the space, I guess, to go forward with horses. But I do have a client who's a psychologist who works with homeless people and the horses and provides therapy through that. And from what I understand, it works. It's amazing.
Horses don't lie.
Yeah.
They don't hide their emotions, or they don't have emotions, but they don't hide what they're thinking.
But isn't that like being authentic, right? That's like
Yeah,
more
absolutely.
of, you know, yeah. There's a saying that I have is that we're hardwired in, like we're hardwired for harmony, but we're conditioned into struggle.
Absolutely.
Ah,
And I
Absolutely.
think there's, you know, like we've learned that, but the blessing is that maybe we've come through that to unlearn that, to let that go, to come to this point of discovering who we are.
Yeah.
So, energy.
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 Absolutely.
I remember you saying that years ago.
I still
Energy.
say it on stage. Yeah,
And
it's just
yeah.
compelling to. Anytime I say the energy, it's trigger for everybody to make noise and to clap. But now I look back and I'm like, I think it was one of the great philosophers said that. Oh, I'll remember the quote, but it's all about, you know, hindsight, about looking back. You know, you move forward, but then you realize everything backwards in regards to the wisdom of you doing these things, and you realize I don't even think that was planned, but in some grand scheme there was divine design to how this is all playing
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like many of us becoming fundraisers, right?
Yeah. Well, you probably didn't like myself, like, oh, I'm going to be a hypnotist, like, but it found you in some way, right?
Yeah, that's how most
Yes.
fundraisers get into it. Yeah.
We fall into it.
Yeah, for sure. Sure.
Cool.
Mhm.
Met somebody once and they were like, oh, you're a fundraiser. And it was another kind of veteran fundraiser. And they were, did you trip in or were you tricked in? Because apparently that's the only two ways in, right?
Right. No other way in. Yeah. Oh, that's I like that saying.
That's good. That is good. Yeah, for sure.
And I was like, I guess I tripped in, right? Yes, that's kind of true.
I was tricked in
Mhm. Mhm.
40 years ago, but yeah.
Oh. Well, I'd like to learn more about the association, and again, there'll be another time, and when we have some more numbers, we'll have some fun on stage.
That's great, Wayne. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That is
You're very
amazing.
welcome.
Thank you.
We really appreciate it.
Thanks
This
for
is
having
fun.
me. Kat, thanks for putting it all together.
Oh, you're
Thank
so
you,
welcome.
Kat. Yeah. Thank you. Kat.
you. Thank you. And I'll remember my yellow. And
Good,
Kristy's
good.
yellow.
Awesome. Well,
Wonderful.
Bye all.
happy holidays.
Happy
Merry
holidays.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Yeah.
And all the best. Stay safe.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for your
Thanks. Good
patience.
night.
Bye.